Welcome, listeners, to the Let's Talk and Walk podcast. Today we are walking by the beach, discussing and reviewing an old novel.
It feels like a good setting for this one, actually. Thinking about big ideas.
Right, we're diving into Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. It's a classic, still causes a lot of debate.
It really does.
And the material we're looking at today really digs into the novel, its themes, the characters, and sort of where it sits in that whole tradition of utopian and dystopian writing.
Yeah, it's a rich analysis.
So our mission today as we walk is to kind of unpack all that. We want to figure out, based on this analysis, is the world state Huxley created really a utopia? Or is it something much darker, a dystopia?
And maybe the bigger question is, why does a book from, 1932, why does it still feel so relevant, almost predictive?
Exactly. It's kind of uncanny. So let's guide you, our listeners, through the key takeaways from what we've looked at.
Sounds good. And it is uncanny how much Huxley got right, or at least foresaw. Published nearly a century ago, but he nailed so many things about technology, society.
Yeah, the analysis points out that even Huxley himself later on was like, whoa, bits of my crazy fictional world are actually starting to happen.
Which makes that core question even sharper.
Right from the start, it's ambiguous, isn't it? He apparently called it a terrifying world, even while presenting its perfect aspects. Is it the ideal society, the utopia, or this awful controlled nightmare, the dystopia?
And to get a handle on that, we kind of need to define those terms, like the analysis does. Utopia, that dream of a perfect place, common good, no suffering, goes way back, Plato, Thomas More.
The ideal, yeah.
But then dystopia looks good maybe, but underneath it's flawed, oppressive, and inverted utopia, sometimes called.
Okay.
And the analysis brings up this interesting idea of the critical utopia. Brave New World is like the prime example. It uses the idea of a perfect society to actually critique our own impulses, showing the hidden costs of trying to engineer perfection.
So it's not just, here's a bad future, it's making us question what we even mean by a good future.
Exactly that. And Huxley really changed the game for dystopian fiction. Before him, it was often about obvious force, Big Brother-style control, like in Orwell's 1984.
Right, control through fear and pain.
Yeah, but Huxley showed control through pleasure, through conditioning people psychologically, through consumerism, keeping them happy and distracted. It's a different kind of tyranny.
Okay, so let's look at that shiny surface then. The world state's big pitch, their motto, community, identity, stability. How do they sell that as utopian?
Well, community basically means total conformity. They got rid of the family unit completely. Everyone belongs to everyone else. It sounds open, but it's really about stopping any deep personal bonds that might, get in the way of the state.
No messy loyalties.
None. Then identity. It's fixed before you're even born. You're manufactured in these hatcheries, genetically designed for your caste alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon.
And the Bokanovsky process for the lower castes.
Yeah.
Making loads of identical twins.
Exactly. Mass production. And then they condition everyone relentlessly to fit their role and, crucially, to like it. Everyone works for everyone else. It's like humans on an assembly line.
Making people predictable.
Yeah.
Standardized.
Pretty much. And stability is the big prize. No war, no poverty, no crime, no social unrest. Even getting rid of disease and strong emotions, life is just smooth. Controlled.
And they boast about getting rid of suffering, right? No sickness, no getting old.
No sickness, no wrinkles, no old age, yeah. And if you do feel a bit off, there's Soma, the perfect drug. Instant happiness, a holiday from reality, anytime.
Chemical fix for everything.
Even death isn't scary anymore because they condition people to just accept it without fuss.
Wow. And all this is propped up by technology, right? The hatcheries, but also things like the feelies.
Oh yeah, the sensory movies, total immersion entertainment, plus this constant push to consume ending is better than mending, keep the economy going, keep people busy buying things.
So the analysis argues these are presented as solutions to age-old human problems. Suffering, chaos, need.
Precisely. It looks like they've solved it all. Achieved efficiency, widespread contentment, a happy world.
Okay, but here comes the flip side. The cost. What's the dystopian price for all this manufactured perfection?
Well, the biggest casualty is individuality, free will. The analysis is really clear on this. You're not just born, you're decanted and conditioned. Sleep teaching, neo-Pavlovian responses, your thoughts, your desires, they're basically installed by the state.
So free will is just gone.
Almost entirely. You're conditioned to want what the system wants you to want.
And what about feelings? Real connection?
Suppressed. Things like love, deep friendship, family bonds, they're seen as messy, destabilizing, dangerous even. So you get this enforced promiscuity instead. Everyone belongs to everyone else applies there too. It creates a world the analysis calls empty of emotion, poetry, and beauty.
So anything deep is out. Art, religion, history.
Gone or locked away. Like Mustafa Mom, the world controller. He knows Shakespeare. He has the books, but they're banned for everyone else. Too upsetting, too provocative. Anything that makes you think or feel deeply or question the present by knowing the past is a threat.
And the control method, it's not soldiers on the streets.
No, that's the genius or the horror of it. It's subtle, it's psychological. Keep people happy, keep them entertained, keep them busy, give them soma, and they won't want to rebel. They love their servitude, as the analysis puts it. It's control through endless satisfaction and distraction.
A tyranny of pleasure, almost.
You could definitely say that. It prevents any real critical thought from taking root.
And underneath it all is that brutal caste system.
Yeah, that really exposes the lie. It's rigidly hierarchical, genetically fixed. The lower castes, gammas, deltas, epsilons, they're basically treated as subhuman tools, conditioned for repetitive work, deliberately limited in intelligence. Their happiness is just being satisfied with their crummy jobs because they literally can't imagine anything else.
So the novel gives us characters who react differently to all this, right? They show us the system from different angles.
Absolutely, they're crucial. You've got John the Savage. He grew up outside the world state, on a reservation, reading Shakespeare. He embodies, well, everything the world state eliminated. Deep emotions, love, pain, spirituality, art.
And when he comes into the civilized world, it's a total culture clash. He just can't stomach the superficiality, the lack of meaning.
Right. It highlights how empty it all is, and ultimately he can't cope, can he? Leading to that tragic end.
His famous line sums it up. But I don't want comfort. I want God, I want poetry, I want real danger, I want freedom, I want goodness, I want sin.
And then he adds that clincher, I claim the right to be unhappy.
A concept totally alien to the world state. Then there's Bernard Marx.
Yeah, Bernard. An alpha, but he doesn't quite fit in physically. He feels like an outsider. He complains, he questions things a bit. But is it deep philosophical opposition?
Or more just wanting to be accepted, maybe have a bit more status.
Kind of, yeah. He uses John for his own social game for a while. His exile later on, as the analysis notes, just shows what happens to people who don't quite fit the mold, even if their rebellion is shallow.
And Helmholtz Watson is different again.
Very different. Another alpha, really intelligent, a writer, but he feels like there's something more he wants to express, something the shallow world state language just can't capture. He feels stifled.
He recognizes the power in Shakespeare, the depth that's missing.
Exactly. And unlike Bernard, who's just unhappy, Helmholtz chooses exile. He asks to be sent somewhere challenging, an island with other freethinkers, hoping it will spark real creativity. He's actively seeking meaning, not just running from discomfort.
That's a key difference. And then the man in charge, Mustafa Mond.
One of the 10 world controllers. He's fascinating because he understands what was lost. He was a brilliant scientist himself, faced a choice between pursuing truth, even if it was destabilizing, and taking power to maintain stability.
And he chose stability.
He did. And he defends it. His debates with John are central. He lays out the rationale. We provide happiness and stability for the masses, and yes, the price is high art, real science, individual freedom, deep emotions, but he argues it's a price worth paying for a peaceful, functioning world.
He admits the trade-off, knows exactly what's been sacrificed.
He does. And finally, you have someone like Lenina Crown.
The sort of typical, well-conditioned beta woman.
Pretty much. She follows the rules, enjoys the pleasures, takes her soma. She shows flickers of interest in John, something outside the norm, but she fundamentally cannot understand his values, his intense emotions. She's a product of the system, showing how successful the conditioning really is.
So when you put all these pieces together, the slick surface, the dark underbelly, the ways different people react, it becomes really clear how this is a dystopia wearing a utopia mask.
Absolutely. The analysis hammers this home. Happiness is a control tool. Stability means stagnation. Community is manufactured and hollow.
And it's all done not with whips and chains, but with conditioning, with pleasure, with keeping people too busy and content to question anything.
Which leads back to Huxley's later thoughts, that maybe this kind of control, the soft, seductive kind, was actually more likely than Orwell's jackboot.
And that's why it still hits so hard today, isn't it? His worries about technology running wild, about mass consumerism numbing us, about psychological manipulation, about choosing easy pleasure over, well, over being fully human.
Yeah, the analysis mentions Huxley worried we'd become content with bread and circuses, that we might choose servitude if it came with enough comfort and distraction.
Maybe the scariest thing isn't just the system itself, but that it's presented as a good thing, as the logical solution to human problems. Makes it incredibly seductive.
And the people in the world state, for the most part, they buy it, they accept the deal. They are, in a way, happy in their limitations, as the analysis puts it.
Which forces you to look around.
Exactly. It forces that question the analysis raises. Are we making similar trade-offs, maybe smaller ones, but still trading depth for convenience?
So, the big thought to leave our listeners with, walking along here, is drawn straight from that analysis. What parts of our own world, our own choices, maybe echo that path towards the world state? What are we, individually or collectively, willing to give up for comfort, for convenience, for that illusion of easy happiness?
It's a heavy question, definitely one to ponder.
Yeah. This walk through Brave New World has really underlined that constant tension, hasn't it? Between wanting security and comfort and wanting freedom and, well, the whole messy, complicated business of being human.
It's a timeless conflict, and the novel lays it bare so powerfully. The analysis really helped frame it.
All right, that wraps up our walk for today. Definitely gave us a lot to think about. Maybe something to mull over with a coffee or a snack.
Hope you also enjoyed the wave sounds in the background. It was a really interesting one, and we truly hope you all listening enjoyed it as much as we did. Thanks for joining us.
We greatly value your engagement. If you found this episode informative, please consider leaving a like. We also welcome your suggestions for new topics and areas you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Feel free to share those in the comments section.
And finally, to ensure you don't miss out on our upcoming content, please hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends.
We look forward to bringing you more interesting discussions. Thank you for listening to the Let's Talk and Walk podcast.